ground.
It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to be about it. And it's a third thing when you actually have done it already and can prove to yourself that you are able to go through hardship and come out on the other side victorious. You need a period of isolation, like extreme isolation. Isolation that's like penetrating to every part of you that breaks you. I feel like the majority, the shit that you see on the internet, the amount of people that you see on the internet going through hard times and not presenting themselves well or not feeling great or going through silent desperation and wanting to unalive themselves and be non-existent. And don't get me wrong, you get the feeling of it too, but then you have to have a greater purpose to hold you back down, right? But you need that period of isolation to break yourself. You gotta break your ego. Where you think you should have been, but you're not, or where you want to be, but you're failing to kind of understand how to get there, and you're stumbling, and you don't feel too good because you're on the ground, and you feel like you're in the pits. Bro, you need to go into the pit and go into extreme isolation, away from all friends, away from all comfort zone, away from all things that make you feel like who you are, and break yourself. Break your ego. Because the only way that you can really understand how strong you are is when you're broken, when you get put in a chamber where it's just stress and pressure and hardship. And sometimes the hardship doesn't have to be physical. Sometimes the hardship is mental. And a lot of it is just mental. You want to put yourself in isolation mentally. You can still work out. You can still do the things you got to do, but you got to go hard with it. And understand that there needs to be a period of violent isolation to really prove to yourself that you can go through all of these things and all of the things that may be coming at you in real time. Because like I always say, when you go through hardship up front and it's really hard, and then it's time to go do a business deal or cut off for somebody that you're close to or remove yourself from an environment that's not feeding you well, bro, doing those things become like butter, because you've put yourself through some hard ass isolation. Pushing weights and forcing yourself back to discipline is hard, but it's not as hard as going through an ego death, killing your ego, not being surrounded by the things that comfort you. We're all human. We do everything to stay in comfort. When it's raining, you get an umbrella because you want comfort. When it's cold, you put on a blanket because you want comfort. When it's hot, you put on AC because you want comfort. Right? So if you put yourself in a place where you have to go through the struggle no matter what, and there's nothing you can do to get out of it, it will break the fuck out of you. It will break the fuck out. And I'm not telling you to do these things because I'm talking from a place of not doing it and I think that's what you should do. I've done it. Bro, fast forward, or if we rewind to 2019, bro, I went to Japan for 6 months and meditated for 5 days straight and worked on some of the biggest challenges of my life alone in a small room. And if you ever knew about Japan, bro, and how small their rooms are within the apartments compared to us over here in America, bro, going over there, it's a culture shock. One, you have nobody around you that you understand and know. Even though I met some people that still support me today, bro, when I went over there, I went in complete isolation. One, so it's a cultural shock. Everything's different. In the first 2 weeks, it's cool. Like, oh, yeah, this is nice. And then you go through like no one's around me. I don't know anybody. I have no friends over here. I have no girls over here. I have nobody to talk to. I have nothing to, it's not a corporate world where you can build something up. Plus, you're over there for only a limited amount of time. And you get to a place where it's like, and now you're stuck with yourself. There's nothing around you to distract you from yourself. And so as I'm there, I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? God damn, I didn't want to leave the room periods of time. And there came a time where we didn't have to do schoolwork for like a week and a half. And I was like, you know what? F it. I was really into the self-development phase. I was getting there. I was in stride, right? And I was like, you know what? I got to take it up take it up a notch because I'm getting stagnant. I don't know, but I feel like something's changing around me. So, I went into the isolation, and you meet like monks and things, and you start to talk to people over there, and their culture is different. So I said, you know what, let me try this thing where I only meditate for 5 days and drink water. When I tell you, I went in there and I worked on some of the hardest challenges of my life. Forgiveness, love, respect, guilt, and a few other things that I really just sat there and I meditated. And anybody who spoke to me after Japan got a text. I sent out a text to everybody breaking all fucking pieces of disturbance, all tensions, because tensions can be felt even if, imagine, let me break it down so you understand. If you have tension with me and I don't know that you have tension with me, there's still tension. Your tension that you have in your brain still affects energetic fields, no matter how much you think it doesn't, it does. So I sent out a message that said, yo, I'm breaking all tensions, felt, unseen, or seen or unseen, felt or unfelt. And I sent messages to everybody I knew I had tension with, or could have had tension with, or could have disrupted their life. But moreover, I was in this isolation period for 5 days, darkness. I'm there meditating, crying my eyes out. Because now everything that you've ever done, and one of the biggest ones, is I had taken a pair of shoes from one of my buddies back in the day, right? Never paid him for it. I was like 12 years old, had to be. And at the time, this is 2019 now, when I went to Japan, I had to be like 21. So this is 9 years later. We were kids then, now we're older, right? And so when I start to think about guiltiness and I'm in that room working on my ego, working on all of it, like destroying all parts of me, I remember that. Hit him up, sent him 3 times the amount that the shoes cost. To break the tension, to relieve the tension between him and I, even if he said it was cool and he motivated from it, it don't matter. You gotta relieve yourself of all of the things that you think you are, because you're not, especially when you're alone. Because when you're alone, all of the lies that you tell yourself come at your ass. You tell yourself you're a big money man, but you work at fucking Coke putting up on a shelf. You're broke. You can't run from that. You can't lie to yourself. When you look in the mirror, you see yourself, don't you? So when you're in isolation and violently in isolation, you feel everything that you've done, everything that you're doing, all of the wrong things that you do, all of the lies you tell yourself, all of the expectations you put on yourself, all of the childhood traumas that still disrupt you in life, them start to attack you, especially when you're alone. And you in isolation? Oh, shit. So I implore you to go through a period of violent isolation. Destroy all ties you got with people for a period of time. This is not a forever thing, but it's something so that you can test yourself. Because one of the things that helped me up to this day is that when I say something about whether I say I'm about to do something or say I can handle something, you're battle tested already. Right? So it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to be about it. And it's a third thing when you actually have done it already and can prove to yourself that you are able to go through hardship and come out on the other side victorious. You have to be good at that. You have to put yourself in battle test yourself. Test yourself to your limits, bro. How much pressure can you take? How much hardship can you take? How much sacrifice can you take? How much pain can you take? How much self-infliction can you take before cracking? And even so, I want to crack. I want to see how hard I can get hit and see if I get up. Because it's not going to kill you. Mentally, it doesn't kill you. If you put yourself through mental stress, it will not kill you, I promise you. But you're going to go through some shit. You're going to relive some traumas. You're going to understand some generational curses. You're going to understand how you are dysfunctional within your functionality in society. You are a highly functioning, dysfunctional human being. You got to start to understand yourself better. And the only way you understand yourself is through isolation. Crack yourself, break your ego, rebuild yourself from the fucking ground up. You know when that shit be like, you merely adopted the dark, but I was born in it? That's what you start to become. You become the Bane. You aren't Batman who practices and tries to be from the dark. No, you were bred from the dark. And if you weren't bred from the dark, yo, my boy, you have to send yourself to the dark and rebuild yourself through the darkness, because then when darkness hits you when you're in the light, it doesn't faze you. That's where you've come from. So while you may not be from that cloth, you can force yourself to reproduce yourself. Remake yourself, rebirth. But it takes violent isolation. Fuck. And then no one can look you in your eye. Yo, you can look into people's eye and see their soul. I promise you. When you break yourself to a point where you know you have nothing to hide, when you know you're not lying, when you know who you are, it becomes a life path that then you start to walk down. And I promise you, while it may be liberating to get through that and be like, hoorah, what's going to happen after that, and we'll make another video about it, is that people will start to reject you simply because there's nothing. You're not hiding anything. And what you become then thereafter is a fucking mirror to everybody and their bullshit. So be careful, because once you start to build yourself in the ways that I'm telling you, you become a mirror to people. And if people aren't high enough in awareness to understand that they're lying to themselves, you becoming that mirror then becomes a disturbance to their current comfort, which is painful to some people, and some people not ready for that. So if you're ready, jump into that violent isolation. Take away the bullshit that you've been doing all this time. And really fight it. Fight yourself. Because it's the only way you can rebirth yourself into something that's greater, better, and you'll have a deeper reasoning for living. It's that simple. But I'm hungry as hell, so I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Boy, Mr. Brown.